Here you go.
John, it looks like all of our guests are here.
Okay.
And looks like you have a quorum, although I think that you will have at least one more commissioner joining us. So
is Sandeep with us?
he's coming to the meeting, but I don't see him on yet.
Okay, and Christina?
She's there. She's
Yeah.
by phone.
I'm here. Hi.
Hi, Christina.
Hello.
You're gonna hide though, aren't you? You're not gonna show your face.
Nope. No, I have a really old system, so it doesn't do video.
We've got to work on that. We've got to work on that.
Excuse me, Chair.
Oh, yes.
You have everybody.
You do. Wonderful. All right. Well, it's my clock is right. It's 7:05, and welcome to everybody. And we will start the meeting with the pledge. I think Commissioner Tang, you gave the pledge last time, but maybe we should try Joyita. Would you be good enough to give the pledge?
Can you repeat what you said?
I'd like you to give the pledge.
Okay.
To lead the pledge, Joyita.
Okay. I pledge allegiance
To the flag
of the
United
States of America,
of the United States of America,
for which it
and to
stands,
the republic for which it stands, one
One
nation, under God,
Under
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Joyita.
You're welcome. How are you guys?
So who is our recording secretary today?
Celia is with us today.
Hi, Celia.
Yes, hi, John. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Would you be good enough to do the roll call?
Oh, you know what? I don't have the attendance sheet in front of me. Give me one moment.
It's okay if you want me to.
Yes, would you mind just reading down and then they could just say if they're present?
Okay, all right.
Please. Thank you.
Commissioner Tang.
Present.
Commissioner Gould. Commissioner Gould.
Yeah, here.
Commissioner Umarini.
Present.
Vice Chair Driggers.
Here.
And myself, John Allen.
Perfect. It's noted. Thank you.
Very good. Okay. We have no alternates, so we will pass on that. I need an approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda? Has everybody read the agenda?
Motion to approve.
Okay, was that Vice Chair?
Christina.
Thank you. And do I have a second?
Aye.
All those in favor?
Yes, I am in favor.
Are there opposers? There are none.
John, if I may interrupt for just a quick minute, I think because we can't necessarily see everybody, if we could do votes with people's names, if you could call the roll.
All right, okay, so it's Commissioner Tang,
Approve.
Commissioner Goes,
Yes, approved.
Commissioner Umarini,
I approve.
Vice Chair Driggers,
Approve.
and myself, aye. Okay,
Thank you.
no, you're welcome. Now we have the approval of the May 11th, 2020 minutes. And I just wanted to make a comment on a couple of small points. I noticed the title for it is the minutes for the Senior Art Commission. And much though I'm about the only senior as a member right now, I think we should probably change that just to commission.
Good catch, thank you.
All right. There was another question, Tegan, I had related to this, and that was the carryovers from the last meeting. We haven't addressed those in this existing meeting. One example is the status of the commission applications, and another is, I think, the visit to the theater, etc. What are we going to do with those things?
Well, unfortunately, right now, you're not going to be able to visit any facilities if that's what you're asking about. I think it was the mobile stage you wanted to see.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So at the moment, because of the public health restrictions, we can't gather in a group. And that also means that we're not bringing out the mobile stage and setting it up because our staff would need to be too close together. So that will just have to wait, I'm afraid. And then the other one you asked about was the Public Art Fund?
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm sorry, I do not have the information that I need to get from finance, so I can't share anything with you on that right now.
They have the request, is that right, or they don't have the request?
Yes, I've requested it, but at the end of the year, as you might imagine, and especially this year, everybody's pretty busy with some other stuff right now, so I haven't received that.
Okay. And will we talk later about applications for the commission?
Oh, that was the other thing you asked about. I have passed along a request that the mayor look at our student application and bring that up at council. I am not aware of any other applications having been received by the city clerk.
Okay. Let's go ahead and with the one amendment, do I have a motion to approve the minutes as amended for the minutes of May the 11th, 2020? Is there a motion?
Triggers, a motion to approve
Okay. Do I have
amended version.
do I have a second?
Aye.
John, can you repeat who motioned and who seconded for Celia?
I believe it was the vice chair that made the motion,
Mm-hmm.
and it was Sandeep that seconded.
Thank you.
Okay. So we have a public forum, and Tegan, I don't know.
Did you guys vote by roll
Oh,
call?
I'm sorry. So all those are in favor?
You need to go by name.
All right. Commissioner Tang,
Aye.
Commissioner Goes,
Aye.
Commissioner Umarini,
Second. Yeah, I support.
Vice Chair Driggers,
Aye.
and John Ag is an aye also. Okay, Tegan, I have a question. Have you received any emails or any correspondence related to public forum?
I have not, and I just checked the box a moment ago, and I don't see anything in there.
Okay. Then my question is, do I need to read the 3 or 4 paragraphs?
I think that you do, because there may be people watching who might need a reminder as to how they would address you.
Okay, all right. Those interested are invited to address the commission on any subject not on the agenda via the public comments form available at https://www.ca.milpitas.gov/ed public comment/ The chair or designee will read comments out aloud at the meeting and be limited to 3 minutes or less. As an item not listed on the agenda, no response is required of the commission or staff. However, commission members may request staff to add the item to a future meeting agenda. This public meeting will be led with professionalism, respect, and civility, so profanity and/or vulgar language will not be shared. Okay, and at this point, presumably, Tegan, nobody has,
I still have no
No.
public comments.
okay, all right. So-
I am not able to see the agenda. Is something wrong with the, are you sharing the agenda, or I'm not seeing it at all?
I believe our IT department is sharing it right now. Thank
Okay, now I
you.
see. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, Joyita, did you receive a package? You didn't, obviously, you didn't receive a package. Joyita?
No, I don't think so. No, I don't think so. No.
Okay. Well, we move on to announcements. Tegan, do you have any announcements?
I don't right now. Thank
Okay.
you.
The only one I would mention, I think probably everybody knows, has seen the publicity, and that's the ribbon cutting for the Milpitas BART station a few days ago. And so officially, I guess it's open now and it's busily active. So we move on to business items. And 9A is the VTA Transportation Authority presentation. Do you want me to read that, Tegan?
I think that we actually can just introduce our guests, and so Karen Gauss from VTA is going to make an initial presentation, and then I guess, Karen, would you mind introducing Bill, who's going to follow you?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
So, hi everyone. My name is Karen Gauss, and I work at VTA. I do public information for a lot of construction projects. Folks may not know that VTA does more than bus and light rail. We build a lot of things around the county, such as freeway interchanges, express lanes, and this really cool pedestrian overcrossing in Milpitas. So my part is very short. My job is to make sure the neighbors are aware of the project, because there's often noise and dust in the middle of the night. And we will promote the pedestrian overcrossing basically all along the construction, and then once it's open, so folks know to use it, and hopefully that will help attract riders to both BART and VTA. The BART Transit Center there at the transit center at the BART station has a lot of buses and light rail. So it's just a really nice connectivity project. So I have 3 slides. The next slide is just a picture in the middle of the night in May when the truss was delivered. The neighbors in that Edge apartment complex were very nice. They were out on their balconies at midnight drinking wine, watching. So that we haven't had any complaints, and folks are very understanding and I hope enthusiastic about the project. If you bought a condo there, you would want access to BART, I would think. So
Karen, did you offer them wine?
yeah, I was hoping they would offer me some. So next slide. This is kind of what it looks like now. There's more bits and pieces. This is a few weeks old, this photo, but it's parked in the lane. The 2 lanes on westbound Montague are closed to make room for this truss as they build the roof and add the decorative fins before they hoist it the weekend of July 10th. And we hope that it will be finished and the project will be on time for an opening in December. So next slide. We have this, you can see here photos of the columns, And then just imagine they're gonna hoist and rotate and place the bridge on top of those columns in July. And there's a lot more detail on the project website there, vta.org/MontaguePed. You can see the cost of the project and the different milestones, and link to our blog where I've written about the project. And I would like to introduce Bill Gould. He's the architect behind the decorative fins and can share with you his a few other projects and his inspiration for this Montague pedestrian overcrossing. By the way, the fins are going on now. I did drive by this weekend and I saw a green fin stuck on the side. So they're working their way down. They're adding those fins right now, which is really just good timing. So take it away, Bill.
Okay, let me see if I can get on. Okay, there we go. Hi, I'm Bill Gould. I'm an architect and a public artist in San Jose, and I was actually approached to work on the enhancements for this bridge not a long time ago, but I had to jump in pretty quick. So let me just go through and show you what we're doing. So this map is just showing the location of the project. And go ahead and go to the next slide, please. Is there an IT person that advances slides, or?
Yeah, Mike's here.
Okay.
Mike?
We only have one page.
You only have one page? Oh, that's not right.
Is it possible for me to share my screen? If I can, I can pull up my version of it.
Mike, are you there? Can you help us out?
We're gonna allow Ms. Bill to share his screen.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. It looks like you just became co-host for a moment, Bill.
Oh, okay.
So you can share.
Okay. Here, let me find a 619. Is this the one? I apologize. I wasn't. Let me make sure I have the right one. Yes. Okay. All right. And I need to share from here. Sorry. Just give me 1 second. All right. So now I share my screen. Got it. Okay. And let me apologize, but okay. There we go. Okay. So here's the project site. This is the rendering that was done prior to my being hired of the bridge and just sort of an entry to it, the stair at the with the elevator tower in the background. And the first thing we did was start studying. I came up with a concept of providing fins, and I'll talk to you a little more about what the fins are intended to represent. But this is just a rendering of us studying those. What we have is about 100 and I think it's 88 or 98 fins total for this. And this was a study of how close they would be and whether you could, you know, what you might see as you're coming up the stairs. The fins are actually, there's 21 of them, 21 shapes. And every shape, you can see here the how the point on each shape is slightly different, and it moves down from the highest to the lowest like this. And so what I did was I ran basically some staff lines, almost like music, you know, so there would be 21 staff lines, and each line will assign a fin, a color, as it crosses that line. Now, what the fins are doing, so these are the colors, at least the initial colors, and the final ones are very close to this. What this is doing is it's actually tracking the ridge line from the mountain to the east. And I believe it's Monument Hill. So what you're seeing is the ridge line of that mountain. And then you can see here a little bit better where the points are and how you might see that tracking from off of the bridge. This is one of our final renderings. It's very close to the coloring, although things did, you know, the up and down changed and the colors changed very slightly from this rendering. But what you're doing is the points are tracking the mountain that you're seeing in the background. So it's reflecting that mountain. This is 3 prototypes that we built to test it. You can see the discs on the end help identify the points. It's also set up so that at some point in the future we can install lighting on those points, and so that is available. One thing that I've always been very interested in is tracking what the mores, you know, especially on pedestrian bridges. You know, so when you're driving down the freeway and you're seeing them getting, you know, the circles or things that go in and out, and you can see a representation of that, of the fins themselves on the right. So those are mores looking through that perforated panel. And so it's a little bit of a you know, it's representing what the vehicle will see as they're driving. And then this is a picture of one of the trusses being built. You can see the fins on the top and bottom. These fins are about 14 feet tall, and each of them at the point are 24 inches wide. This is, you can see one, this is during fabrication at the fabrication shop. This is our structural engineer making sure that that he's comfortable that this perforation will not deflect too far or come out of the frames. And so that is what is, this is the final slide and what this project is going to be. I do know that we've done final review of all the colors. I believe they are, I know all the fins were fabricated, and I believe they're in there being colored right now, and will be delivered and installed to the trusses before they lift them into place. So I would be happy to take any questions or
Uh, this is John Agg here, Bill. Congratulations. It's
Thank
interesting.
you.
My first reaction, I guess, is it has some significance from a rainbow standpoint too. When you're driving, will you get more of the color impact than appears on this particular slide?
Yeah, I mean, I think what you have to remember is when you're doing a two-dimensional representation, you know, when we are right in the middle of the road where basically no one will ever be, and at a specific point where you're stopped. As you're moving, yes, you'll see these fins, they'll overlap. If you go back here, let me go back to this one. You know, I think this is much more representational of what you will see from almost any point on either side of the bridge.
Mm-hmm. Now, the bridge itself is open, is that right? There's no, the wind blows through it.
The wind does blow through. There are a wire mesh panel that closes the spaces between the truss and keeps, you know, people from falling off the bridge and from touching the fins.
Okay.
But yes, it's basically transparent.
Okay. And from the inside, the pedestrian, will they get an impression too from the fins?
They will have a very dramatic impression of the fins. They will be surrounded by these things.
Good.
And I think they will find it very fun.
Okay. Okay. Commissioners, do you have any other questions? Joyita, you're going to have to unmute yourself.
I have a question. This is Councilmember Montano. So what is the purpose of the fins? I'm still a little confused.
I'm not sure. I can respond to what my concept. What the fins are a device that I'm using to track the ridge of the mountain, the points of the fin, and do it in a way that makes, you know, a rainbow of color.
Then why weren't, if you want to depict the range of the mountain, why didn't you do it all one color, like all green, or, I mean, yeah, I'm just curious why all the colors too.
I am very, I'm not sure if you know my work. I have quite a bit around.
You do great work. I know you've done great work.
Well, then you know that I use color. I'm someone that likes to explore the use of color, and I always look for opportunities to do that.
Yeah, I see it. Yeah, it's just it stands out. You ain't gonna be able to miss this on the road. Yeah, it's gonna stand out. All right, well, thanks for your input. I guess my concern, I had wanted the Arts Commission to have some input, and it doesn't seem like they're gonna have any input in this. I would have liked to have had them do some input, but it's already probably a done deal, so.
Yeah, I think that's water over the dam or pedestrian over the overcrossing. So,
John, if I may.
We still have an opportunity. I think we can talk about some of our opportunities. I do have a few more questions, Bill. I actually do like the coloring. I think that it actually creates a conversation as you pass underneath. And you've got to find a way of making people understand exactly what the significance of it. Commissioner Gosh, you had a question.
Can I actually really like it. Congratulations. It's really very beautiful concept. I had a question whether it moves Does it move? And in the night, is there any light? Do you have any way that it could be lit up? I really like the color combinations, and I'm thinking of how the way the stairs are. It would be beautiful to bring in metal artwork which represents these colors um, around the bridge. So I like it. I just want to know if there is lights also for the night.
So I'm not sure how much you know of the history of the bridge and how we got to this point. I think technically this is not public art. This is an enhancement, and so so there was no. By the time they hired me, I had like 3 weeks to design this and get it into production. So it was something. It was a very intense process. And I do not know that anyone even knew that there was going to be a review of it, by that point. I mean, that the city had obviously reviewed it, but and approved the concept. But we did, design, came up with, we hired a lighting specialist down in Southern California to do a study on how we could light the bridge. The decision was made, it was too much to try to get approved and figured out and priced while they were constructing the bridge. And so that's why what we decided is we left these dots. They are sized so that a specific light fixture can get mounted on it. And that light fixture is actually controllable should the city decide to move forward at some point in the future, so that this could give you lines, they can match the colors, they can trace, they can go back and forth, they can turn on in different patterns. So that part was conceptually designed, but the choice was made to not implement it. Now there was a worry that it would be rushed, and there would be too big of a chance that it would not come out the way that it wanted to be, because VTA really needed to get this project moving the way it was being contracted. So I don't know a lot of the history about how things got to where it got. All I know is what the time frame that I had to put it together. Now there is lighting on the bridge, and these spins will light up at night also, but they won't have the light on the points.
I see.
Okay, so you will see these at night. And you'll see the color.
I have a sort of related question, and I'm not sure that the right person or the Karen is the right person. What I would be interested in knowing, based on the fact that there were originally thoughts of having some kind of lighting on the fins, is there still money in the VTA export budget for that? Could we collaboratively work with VTA on some expansion of the artwork?
John, I don't know that we have the.
No, it's a done deal. We don't, I'll tell you the history. So this has been going on, this project, we're planning this back in 2012, 13, 14, 15. And for some reason, when there was a new console, it just fell out of the radar. And so then they did what they wanted to do. So when we came on the console, when I came back on the console, I said, there were plans already. There were plans that we wanted to make it really nice artwork, but somehow VTA didn't put that didn't put that artwork in there. And so Steve McCarras, I spoke to him and I said, we need some type of art in there. And he said, well, we can't, it's kind of too late. The time was of the essence. So that's
Okay.
why I'm sure that Steve reached out to Arctic, and that way, and that's what we're getting right now. So yeah, it was, it was a short, it wasn't like an emergency type thing, because we needed to have some art on there, because we
Okay.
just couldn't have it plain looking. So that's the history behind that. And so there's no more money in there. I mean, we were lucky to get some art in there, because they weren't planning on putting anything. This is VTA now, okay? So yeah, so at least now we have something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Karen, this is somewhat of a the walkway, the actual pedestrian crossing. What is the substrate there? Is that a concrete? Or?
They're going to pour a concrete deck after it's hoisted in place.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think if there is possibility for a continued discussion about other artistic enhancements, and I've sort of opened the door for that, and that's a conversation that needs to happen with I think the city of Milpitas and our project manager James Chai.
Okay.
So I realize
That's actually our
maybe
next item.
yeah, that maybe the city of Milpitas has spent all that they had foreseen on the fins, but the VTA side may have something if you speak to James.
So clarify, the fins, this was invested by the city of Milpitas?
Yes.
John, this was not public art though. This was through the planning process and engineering.
Yeah.
It's different.
So what we want to do is, you had mentioned, Ms. Gould. What was your name again? I'm sorry.
Joita Ghosh.
No, the other one, the presenter for VTA.
Karen.
Karen Gauss. Yeah. So Karen, yeah. So we know it was too late for us to do anything on the bridge itself. So what we wanted to do, the Arts Commission, is they wanted to do something on the bottom, and possibly use some of our art funds, or have the VTA do some donation or something to do something that the Arts Commission can, take. That the city of Milpitas the Arts Commission was able to do something that they wanted to represent our history in Milpitas, like cornfields or some really nice art, something on the bottom part, and that's what they want.
Right, that's our next item on the agenda.
Okay, well, Bill, thank you very, very much for your presentation. Karen, I appreciate that. And we look forward to seeing the bridge going up on July the 10th.
Well, me too. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill. Appreciate it. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you, Bill.
So the next item would be the Montague Pedestrian Overcrossing Art. And Karen, you're going to stay with us for this?
I can stay with you. Yeah.
Okay. Do we have at this point any outline as to where that those or that location is on the
John, I have a little report I could give you and kind of go over this.
Tegan, please do.
Yeah. I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So yes, the street level artwork is what's planned right now for the Arts Commission to work on. And this is our first opportunity to talk about this. As you just heard in the earlier presentation, this is a collaborative effort, and our portion of this gateway structure is the ground level pre-finished metal walls, which are at the base of the stairs and around the electrical room. When you just saw Bill's picture a moment ago, it was the tower on your left-hand side, your left-hand side and down at the bottom. And it's highly visible area for both pedestrians and motorists. The walls are quite big, as you could see in the blueprints that were part of your attachment. So we've got quite a bit to work with that VTA has set aside for us. Would be an excellent opportunity for a painted mural, or possibly a mural that has tile or some other mixed media embellishments. The commission, we're asking you to now sort of think about what you might like that project to be, because the way this will work is we'll come back to you with your thoughts rendered in a call for artists for you to look at. And then once we put out that call for artists, you'll be the ones that review those designs as they're coming back. But we need to first be able to go to council and say, we think that we would like to spend X dollars on an artwork here at the bottom out of the public art fund. So if you have your attachment, Mike, can you, there you go, you've got it up. I just was looking at names instead of the pictures. So you see our area down at the bottom there. And as I said, the commission may wish to now or at our next meeting, think about budget, and the level of budget affects the kind of artists that we can hire. So obviously the higher the budget, you'll have a wider pool of artists, and you'll probably have artists with more experience. We can specify or not specify the medium. We can specify or not specify a subject matter or theme. Same with an artistic style. You could say we want abstract. You could say we want Trompe l'oeil. You could say, you know, whatever it is that you're interested in. And you can also, at the point that you do a call for artists, give some artist qualifications. You often see calls that are open only to Bay Area artists, or only California artists, or only emerging artists. So those are the kinds of things that we can specify when we're getting ready to put out that call. So I would welcome any feedback.
I spoke to Pacific Fine Arts. They are one of the producers of all the Main Street artists in Bay Area, California, basically, Northern California. And they have a huge pool of professional artists. And I have spoken to the producer, and she mentioned that a call for artists would be a great idea, so she can present it to the artist pool that she has. And this covers you know, artists like who would be able to make murals. There are mosaic artists and metal artists, all kinds of artists. So we can kind of send a call for artists and see who's interested. They're mostly Bay Area, but maybe not all of them are Bay Area artists. So that is something that that's one producer who brings in one of the best artists from around the country. So, but a lot of them are from Bay Area.
That's great. I'm so glad to hear you have that resource. We also usually use the California Arts Council's area for call for artists. So we get it out to California. The city maintains a list of artists, and we also talk to our neighboring cities and share artists in that way. So any artists that any of you on the commission would like us to send a call to, when we get ready to do that, I would love to have their names and information.
Clarify one thing for me, Tegan. The area is one of the pedestals or both pedestals?
It is the one pedestal, as I understand it to be.
Closest to the BART station? No?
Right. Well, it's opposite the garage. Karen, if you're still on, can you help clarify for us?
So the large staircase there that you see and then the elevator shaft are on the north side of the pedestrian overcrossing next to the
Mhm.
apartments
Mhm,
and Piper Drive.
mhm.
And then on the left there of your screen, on the south end of the bridge, it goes directly into the parking garage. So
Okay.
you only have like the one little
The one side.
pillar.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's a skinny little pillar next to the parking garage and the BART station, and there's much more surface area around this staircase and elevator shaft on the north
Mhm.
side.
Mhm.
Okay. So, Keegan, from a timing standpoint, it makes sense, I think, for us to be prepared to talk at length and discuss this at our next commission meeting. Would that be the proper way to do this?
Yes, it would be great to talk in length. If you have lots of ideas about that, we would want to get them all down as we're preparing the call for artists, yeah. But if you have initial things that you need me to research, that would be helpful to know now so that I can come back to you at the next meeting with some details.
Okay. Vice Chair, do you have any comments?
I like the whole design. I'm just trying, being that there's only one side that we can work with, it's going to be, I think we have to be mindful that we can't balance, both sides. I'm just trying to think what would work there. So I don't have a lot of great ideas, but I'd like to think about it.
Okay. Okay. Commissioner Tang.
I had a question for the stairway. There, I see there is, like a metal area where you could hang metal artwork. Is that a possibility, or are we just focusing on art installation on this, like a mural here?
I think right now we're focusing on the area that the engineers have agreed is available to us to work on, which would be the panels,
Okay.
the metal walls.
Okay. Got it.
So there's nothing we can do on the left side. Is that what you're saying? That's going to stay.
The garage is over on the other side. You're not seeing the garage in the picture that you're looking at right now.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Got it.
So there is a pillar there on the left side, but it has a driveway right behind it in between the pillar and the garage. It's not really a pedestrian area. It's
Right.
the driveway for the kiss and ride drop-off area for the BART station. I suppose you could put some paint or tiling or art installation on that little pillar, but I think it's just a little bit awkward to get to.
Yeah, it is visible from Montague, from the expressway. That pillar is quite noticeable.
It's
Yeah.
very visible. That's
You
why they
can
gave
see
it
it.
to it. So you'll have pedestrians walking by that, walking up the stairs, and then vehicular traffic driving right by. So the area that we've been given is really quite visible. It's a nice spot.
Got it. I just, the only comment I guess is that you've got pedestrians walking up there, returning from Great Mall. So it's a pity that it's not the entrance rather than the exit. But that's that's the way it is.
So I had a question. So Ms. Gauss, have you been to our Milpitas Library?
Yes, I know
Yes.
the Milpitas Library.
Yeah, so it's really nice how it has the history there. So that would be something that, maybe the commission would, as a city council person, I'm a history person, so I think we need to preserve some of our historical values in Milpitas. The scenery, the hills, the name, little cornfields. So all that, I hope is reflected in the art. And I like the idea of a tile mosaic or mural. I think that would be great right there in that area. So hopefully we can get something like that going.
So the commission will be able to specify if you guys are particularly interested in a historical theme, or if you'd like to see some tile, that call for artists is your opportunity to do that.
And I should add, Council Member Montano, Karen is grew up in Milpitas, so she's a local. She's local.
Mhm.
Great. I'm glad,
I-
Karen.
Yeah, I remember doing children's theater in the old building that's now surrounded by the new part in the library. And they had to move it over. I remember quite a lot about Milpitas. That area at the library has changed a lot.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's great. That you're still a Milpitan. Great.
So I'd like to clarify, I don't think VTA would chime in at all on the design. I think that would be entirely up to your group.
Okay. Good.
So.
Thank you.
So are these pictures something that I can share when I'm presenting this to artists?
This is a matter of public, all the things that are in your packet are a matter of public record.
So I can share these? Okay.
Sure, the public is welcome to see anything that we have included in the packet. Yeah.
Okay.
So, but we aren't ready to do the call for artists. And when we do the call for artists, that there's a procedure that we'll go through. It's not so much the commissioners out individually seeking artists. You would tell them about the call and then they would apply, but we have to do it very procedurally and follow the guidelines.
Yeah, Joyita, I think we need to have a brainstorming session. I think at the next meeting, so that we get 100% input here, and then really Tegan will help us through the formal process.
I do all the paperwork. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm not sure that are there any other questions from the commissioners? It sounds as if there are not. So Karen, I have to thank you. I'm not sure whether Bill is still with us, but thank you very much. And thank you, Bill, for the presentation. And maybe then an opportunity for us to meet Bill in some other future venture also.
Mm-hmm.
And Karen, I assume now that BARD is fully functioning and there's activity there.
Yes.
And our council member, Montano, has left her own imprint actually on the station already. I don't know whether you knew that or not.
What's that? Oh yeah, I had a bad fall.
Oh no!
At the BART ceremony, yeah, and I was taking a picture of the new BART station, and I didn't see the step below me, and boom, with high heels, and so I'm still, recovering, and yeah, it was because I'm already over the hill, and so it's harder. I'm not a spring chicken anymore. So when you fall, it takes a long time to heal.
Don't believe you, Karen. It's not true.
No, I was born in 1955, so that's a clue right there.
You're a spring chicken.
Yeah, anyhow, thank the Lord that I didn't break any bones though, so I'm still healing. So yeah.
Well, Karen, thank you.
You're very welcome.
And,
thank you, Karen.
Hopefully we'll get together and brainstorm, so the commissioners will get together and brainstorm at the next commission meeting. Thank you.
I look forward to seeing the design.
Very good. Well, we're happy to hear it.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, we're on to the 9C. The excuse me, the Valley Water Adopter Bench project, and we have Kristen with us. Hi, Kristen.
Hi, good evening, Chair and Commissioners. I'm Kristen Yasukawa. I'm the Community Benefits Program Administrator at Valley Water, and I'm part of the team that's running our new public arts program. And so we have with us tonight Peggy Lamb, who's also on the team, and then Domingo Candelas, who's from our Office of Government Relations. And I believe that you might have received our memo and our bench artwork design for one of our interpretive benches that's existing in Milpitas, and we are hoping to beautify it and reinvigorate it. And so we're available to answer any questions and provide any additional information.
Thank you, Kristen. Tegan, I think you wanted to
Sure, I just wanted to give a brief explanation to the commission, because this is the first time that something like this has come before most of you, I think. What we are being asked to do tonight is really vote to issue a letter of courtesy approval for Valley Water's Adopt a Bench art project here in Milpitas. Mike, if you want to go back to the screen before. The Valley Water Company, they're putting this on their own property, and they are not required to do this by our ordinance. So they don't really need our approval, but we would like to support their project. And if the commission wishes, issue a letter of courtesy approval. We always want to encourage people to do public art projects in the city of Milpitas, even if they're not required to do them. So is your artist, Mr. Gonzalez, here tonight?
No, unfortunately, him and our youth commissioners who worked together, 21 high school students, they were all unable to make it tonight on short notice. Sure. But they did work very closely together over the past months and developed 7 benches, one in every board district area throughout the county. So this is one of the 7 bench collection, and it was really important for our youth commissioners and our artists to visit the site of each bench and to look at the different native plants and animals that were in the area and make sure those were incorporated into the bench along with the nearest creek waterway. And so that's here you see a western pond turtle, which is native, and I believe they did spot it out there at the bench, as well as some native grasses. And it includes the local creek name, which is Berryessa Creek. Because in our very urban environment in Santa Clara County, oftentimes the creeks are hidden and they're under streets or below different overcrossings. So we hope that this bench also provides some educational opportunity as well.
Thank you, Kristen. I happen to actually go over there at the hidden lake there this weekend to check it out.
Great.
I didn't see the bench, I have to admit. Has it been installed at this point?
Yes, all of our benches have actually been installed for, we think, around 20 to 30 years already. And so there is an existing panel that's on there, but it's completely worn away and you can't really read it anymore. And so we wanted to, reuse and recycle, which is part of our sustainability mission. And so we wanted to revitalize the benches with new artwork by incorporating, the youth commissioners and our local artists.
Okay, so is this facing Hidden Lake? Is it by the gateway that runs up to the trail, the Berryessa Trail?
I know that, yeah, it is near a trail, and this was a more like man-made lake. We had visited this a long time ago. I'm trying to recall specifically this location, but there are the bench photos there of where it is located at the lake. Yeah,
it's difficult to tell from there exactly which one it is, but that's okay. I'm excited that we're doing it, and I like the fact that we can in some way give support to these young artists, young students. Does anybody else, any other commissioner, have any questions? No. Well, I've got another question for you, Kristen. I'm not sure whether you're familiar with the Berryessa Creek Trail, but the section between Calaveras and Milpitas Boulevard has recently been, they built levees, new levees along there.
Mhm.
And there's a ramp that runs from the street level to the bridge that crosses over to the Beresford Estate, the new houses there.
Yes, okay.
At street level, there's a bench and there's a mural, potential mural area. Would that be Valley Water property or would that be city property?
I think we would probably have to check with our project team, but I am familiar with that project and where you're talking about. If anything, we would likely, if we don't own that property already, it would likely be an easement where, but typically the recreational aspects of a project are managed by the cities, but we would have to just double check that with our community projects review unit to be sure the location. But you were saying there's a bench at the ramp of where the Beresford Estates is.
Correct. It's street level actually on what's the name of the street? Refugio is I think the street.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, along Berryessa Creek.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps you could let us know. I'd be very interested in that.
Yeah, we can definitely look into that and send information over to Tegan to distribute.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, is there a vote required, Tegan, for this one?
It would be nice if you would vote on that, yes.
Okay. So if there are no more questions of the commission or by the commissioners, do we have a motion to issue a letter of courtesy to Valley Water?
Motion to send the letter. Triggers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And a second?
I
second. This is Sandeep.
Thank you, Sandy. Okay, so we go through an official roll call here. Let me get the names out here. So Commissioner Tang,
Aye.
Commissioner Ghosh,
Aye.
Commissioner Umarini,
Aye.
Vice Chair Driggers,
Aye.
and an aye from me, from John A. Well, Kristen, thank you very, very much. I would ask, at some point, perhaps you can share this with Tegan later, whether there are any further Milpitas related Valley Water projects that we might be able to participate in some art form. I think it would be great. For instance, there are two large granite blocks on the trail there, which presumably are part of Valley Water, that perhaps would be an interesting addition when we could make something of that. So there may be other ideas too. And it would be an opportunity for your students, your young students to participate with the city, which I think would be a great idea. So maybe Tegan, you could call Tegan and we can have a chat and we can pursue it at our next commission meeting.
Yes, that's a great idea. We welcome any further collaboration and to, further support arts in our community. And you've just made 21 youth commissioners very happy with your vote today. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, let's make it happen now, okay?
Right.
Thank you very
Kristen,
much.
I had a question about the project. Yeah. So I wanted to know, this is something, is there like a way to find these projects? Or like John said, he didn't see it in Hidden Lake. So I was wondering whether there would be a way that there would be a map created or something for by your student commissioners, so it would be fun to find them and see the artwork. So it could be a walking trail.
Yeah, that is a great idea. And it's something we have been talking about because actually when everything was installed, decades ago, there was no map of where they were installed. And so we are currently undergoing a huge effort of trying to inventory where all of those signs and benches and things are. So you will hopefully be seeing our signage scavenger hunt campaign launching next month in collaboration with the Silicon Valley Bicycle Coalition. And so we're, going to pool the community resources. So if you see a sign out there or a bench that has the Valley Water logo, you can take a photo of it on your mobile device and it uploads to our map. So we'll have a map inventorying our existing infrastructure with signage and the benches and things. But that's a great idea to do it for the newly refurbished benches and artwork as well. So I'll definitely bring that back.
Very good.
Great. Thank you.
Peggy, you didn't get a chance to say anything, but I know that Valley Water is going through sort of a major branding transition. And I spoke with the director, Richard Santos, the other day. So more power to all of you, okay?
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, congratulations. Chairperson, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Since we're dealing with ETA, or we've dealt with ETA and the Valley Water District, all these special districts, perhaps we can also contact Caltrans. There's a lot of beautiful bridges that could use some nice artwork. So that might be something the commission might want to look into.
Thank you very much, Councillor. We put that on not this next work plan, but the next year's work plan, I think.
Yeah.
But I think it's a great idea. I think it's a wonderful idea. Great. All right. Well, thank you, Kristen. Thank you, Domingo. Thank you, Peggy.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.
You too. Okay, so now we move on. We've had a vote, but I didn't have a roll call. Tegan, do you need a roll call for that?
That would be great, yes.
Okay. All right, hang on. Commissioner Tang?
Aye.
Commissioner Ghosh?
Aye.
Commissioner Umarini?
Aye.
Vice Chair Driggers?
Aye.
And an aye from John.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay. So now we get into the meat and potatoes here.
We're back to the work plan that you spoke of last time.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to review for you some of the thoughts that you had last time and then let you discuss. As a reminder, you had the hope to finish your work plan soon so that you can present it to council early in the fiscal year and get started on it right away so we aren't delayed. Mike, if you want to advance to the next slide, please. Thank you. Oops. I don't know what that is. That's the agenda. Okay. It's item 9D. Do you have anything there you go. Thank you. Okay, that's what I was looking for. So last time that we met, we talked about some of the items that had been on your 1920 work plan, and we wanted to have you think about whether you wanted to continue those or have different ones. The Milpitas Arts and Culture Grant was one that you talked about. The Phantom Art Gallery was one that you talked about. The Montague Pedestrian Overcrossing, which of course we've already talked about this evening, was one that was mentioned last time. Maintenance of our permanent collection. A video festival, I believe Councilmember Montano brought that up. We had previously talked about a film festival, and she pointed out that videos on people's phones might be something that the community is more able to participate in. prioritizing locations for potential public art projects, specifically to beautify certain areas of the city. And I think we also mentioned that performance and event related activities are right now very difficult, and we don't know, frankly, when we'll be able to work on those things because it's totally dependent on the public health restrictions. So that's kind of where we left it last time. And staff's hope is that you will be able to narrow down some of your top priorities and perhaps rank and vote on those tonight.
Okay. There's one actually that came up. Walter Rossman was actually scheduled at the Rotary meeting at noon today, but for one reason or other wasn't able to make it. So Renee Lawrenson actually made a very detailed presentation of what's happening with Parks and Rec. And she mentioned that, well, actually one of the participants raised the question about Augustine Park. The Sunny, I think it's going to be renamed. I'm not quite sure exactly what the renaming is, but it will include Sunny Hills. And Renee mentioned that there may be an opportunity for both the Parks and Rec Commission and the Art Commission to work together on a way to recognize the historical significance of that park in that area. So it's a new one, but I would like, if I may, I'd like to add that one to the potential list of items we include. Parks and Rec does meet on a regular basis, and so do we. So we would probably start off by meeting them and talking about how we go about this. But I would like to include that as part of our work plan if the rest of the commissioners agree. The other thing I want to mention, which I think we've already sort of recognized, is that we have a limited number of commissioners. And the skill sets may not necessarily lend themselves totally to some of the items that we are including. So I think we should be wary of that because I'm hoping that whatever ends up on the work plan this year we not only commit to, but we make it happen. So if there are some areas here which we feel sensitive about, I think that perhaps we should be willing to say so and not necessarily include them. So with that, what's the best way to go through this, Peter? We still have some items that were on the 1920 work plan, which I don't have in front of me, that we should perhaps go through.
I think you kind of did that last time.
Okay.
I'm happy to read through those if you'd like again, but one way you might do this would be sort of find out what is everybody's number one project and see where you kind of
there you go,
aligning or not aligning.
That's a good suggestion. And I know, for instance, that both Vice Chair Driggers and Commissioner Ghosh were talking about street art in various forms. And there was one particular location that they were talking about underneath the 680 freeway, the Calaveras 680 freeway intersection. So maybe we should we start off by talking about that.
I would like to put that as a priority. The street art, since we've been kind of, I mean, not all of us, but we've been kind of working on that for quite some time. So I would like to, at least for me anyway, and then the like mosaic or something possibility for under the freeway.
Yeah.
I'm just reviewing the list again, and for me, those are the things that jump out at me.
Yeah. I don't know whether Commissioner Ghosh, you actually received a copy of the Robin Hayes's file of proposed artists and proposed
Yes.
artwork. And
Yeah. I did
that
get
could
it.
equally apply. So let's put that on the list unless anybody disagrees. I like that idea. It has been on the list for a long time.
Yeah.
I should mention, I think that once we put it on the list, even though we don't make this public, it might be a good idea for us to assign individual commissioners for each of these projects so that we've got somebody to go to keep an eye on progress and so on. Does anybody have an objection to that?
Not as long as we can pick our, like I'll take the lead on this one.
No.
I would be happy.
Can I make a recommendation? So it seems to me that maybe what is more doable, that way you can check it off faster, and then the hardest ones, or the ones that take more time, maybe doing that last, and just, that way you can check off your list faster. So I just wanted to throw that out there to keep that in mind. What is more doable, and that way you can do your checklist. Anyway, those are my thoughts. You can keep going. That's when I do my housework. I say, okay, what's the fastest, easiest thing to do first? So
I like the suggestion, Carmen. I had the opportunity to meet Tegan a few weeks after she joined the city, and I explained to her that maybe this was not a new concept, but I felt that the commission, the Art Commission, was an extension of what she is trying to accomplish also within the city. But that most of the projects that we have take a little longer than a one-year work plan. That's the only challenge. The pedestrian crossing is a very good example. Once we've sat down and agreed on going out and looking for artists, it takes a long, long time and I can give you one classic example, and that's the Guerra Park and the sculpture that is located there, or will be located there. It just takes time. So I'm not sure. And, all of the commissioners, with one exception, and that's me, are working or, have full-day, full-time commitments. So we just have to be very careful about what we choose. I agree. But I'm not sure that there's very much that will actually get completed within the period of the 12-month work plan. But assuming that we hold on to our commissioners and encourage them and give them lots of love and attention, we've got some commissioners that will be here for a while, and that's a great start.
How about this the pedestrian crossing that you're talking about?
Yeah.
That we all kind of come up with ideas. We brainstorm ideas that we would. What do we want to do, and kind of talk about it for the next meeting. We actually have something written, pictures or whatever, so we can go from there and then do a call for artists and
yes, it's a good idea.
Make our plans happen.
Yeah, I like that idea. Yes. Which brings me actually, maybe I'm jumping a little bit here, but and I haven't even discussed this with Tegan, but I'm wondering whether we could actually schedule another special meeting for the end of July the 27th, and we could use that for us to wrap up all of these ideas, to brainstorm them and put them into a sort of final form, ready for presentation to the council.
John, traditionally all the commissions take July off and council takes July off. So I think they usually, if you want to do a special meeting, we usually do it early August. I think that's what you did last year.
Is that what we did last time?
I think so. Mhm.
Well, that's fine. That's fine. Let's come back to that then in a minute. Well, look, let's start by going through the things that we agreed we felt should be part of the work plan from our last meeting. The culture, the Milpitas Arts and Culture grants, the Phantom Art Gallery, and maintenance of the permanent collection. And I got some questions if we can do that. I think I brought up the fact that I think my first month or so with the commission, we were chartered with going out and surveying all the electrical boxes, the artwork on the electrical boxes. And we completed that project. And comments on those that required some maintenance or attention. But I'm not sure where that went to, you know. What has happened to that?
You know, John, I'm sorry to say I don't know the answer to that because it would have been before my time.
Okay.
But I will have to do some research and see if I can find out.
Okay, there were images, we took images of all of them in their present state. And some of them had graffiti on them and so on. So,
do you know about when that happened? Or who the staff person was that you worked with?
It was Rosanna.
Okay.
And it would have been in the, I think, June, July, 2018, I think.
Okay. I'll see what I can find out.
Okay. So do we want to take a vote on each of these and then just move down the line?
One thing that sometimes works well is to do a thumbs up, thumbs down, John.
Okay.
Or thumbs sideways, and then we can kind of narrow down where people really are most interested.
All right. Well, Milpitas Arts and Culture grants. Thumbs up.
You'll have to say it verbally, I think, because we can't see everybody's pictures.
Okay.
Thumbs up.
Very good. Is that Sandeep?
Thumbs up.
Thank you, Joy.
This is Sandeep. Thumbs up.
Very good. Very good. So that was, I'm sorry, then that was Ben also, huh?
Yes.
Well, it looks as if we have an agreement there. The Phantom Art Gallery. Thank you, Christina. Phantom Art Gallery.
Sideways.
Who's the sideways?
Commissioner Tang.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Tell me why. That's it. I'd like to know.
It's a gathering place, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we don't know when the health restrictions are gonna be lifted yet. So that's a sideways for me.
Okay.
I like that word. Sideways. I never heard that one. That's a good one.
The only reason I would guess we leave it in is we don't know how long the shelter in place and the pandemic is going to continue. But there is a relaxing of some of the original restrictions. And I would see from July through next June 30th that it might be open to artists. That's the only question in my mind. So should it not be there?
May I bring you all up to speed on the Phantom Art Gallery? Just really briefly. So you have artists that are waiting in the queue for that. And we would probably approach the ones who missed their opportunity to invite them to fill in once we're able to have that again. So the commission's role with the Phantom Art Gallery is, I guess, threefold. One is promoting it to artists who apply for it. One is promoting it to people to come and see it. And then one is choosing which artists will be exhibited. And you've already got some that you've chosen. Once we open, we could spend more time on how to get people there, but you're not really in need of more people to exhibit right now.
Yeah. And I assume that if somebody wanted to present or ask for an opportunity to present their art at some point, we're open to that.
Absolutely. That's part of your regular duties. Yeah.
Right, right. I don't want to overrule the sideways guy, but it's not, we're not encumbered at this point. So it seems to me that we should leave that on there.
It's kind of like it's ongoing, you know, it's kind of running itself.
Exactly.
We don't really have to do anything with it.
Exactly, exactly. So shall we have a thumbs up or a thumbs down? We've got one thumbs down. Are there any other? I've got a thumbs up.
I have a thumbs up. That's Joyita.
Thank you, Joyita.
Driggers, thumbs up.
Thank you. All right, so the sideways is overruled in that particular case then. Let's leave it in. Is there any question that we would pursue the Montague pedestrian overcrossing?
What was that?
Is there any question that we would not produce and pursue the Montague pedestrian overcrossing? I'm, you know, I sometimes think as if I'm talking to my dogs rather than my commissioners.
I still don't know what you're asking. Are you asking, do we want to move forward with that?
Yes, yes, that's what I'm asking. Yeah.
Yes, that's up for me.
Thank you. Thank you.
Triggers.
The sound is very garbled today.
Oh, is that what it is? Is it my?
Yeah.
I think so, John. I for myself, I'm having a hard time hearing you.
Really?
Yeah, I'm having a hard time hearing too.
So,
hang on.
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly fine. So this is Sandeep.
I'm sorry.
I can hear John really well.
I'm wearing headphones. I don't know if that's the reason, but I don't have any issue.
Sandeep, I'm sorry. I didn't hear a word you said.
Okay. Yeah, so I don't have any problem hearing you. So I'm good.
Okay, thank you. I'm actually a little closer to the mic. Maybe that will help. So let's go back. So do we have a thumbs up on Montague pedestrian overcrossing?
Thumbs up from me. This is Sandeep.
Thank you.
Thumbs up from me, Benjamin Tang.
Thank you, Benjamin. And we
Thumbs
already
up
have
from me, from Joyita.
Thank you, Joyita. All right. Okay, so let's move on. Maintenance of the permanent collection. And Sandeep, I think this is something that you were interested in talking about at the last commission meeting. Visiting parks, looking at the artwork, the sculptures.
Right. So, but yeah, I did talk about that earlier. But looking at the present situation, I'm a little. I'm not that excited about taking maintenance of this permanent collection at this point, because I understand that it will involve meeting in person with different people and a lot of outdoor activities. And with the situation, the way it is going on right now for the last couple of weeks, I'm a little skeptical on this specific item for now.
Okay, all right. I would actually ask that if this is not included, I would ask Tegan's that the city at some point continues to consolidate their records on what we have in the parks.
Mm-hmm.
And perhaps that would be an opportunity for us at the next work plan in 21-22 to really get serious about it. Because as I understand it, at this point, the records are a little questionable.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Okay. The other question actually related to that is the Piper in the middle of the pond behind the Civic Center.
Yes.
Has anything happened with that?
We are waiting to hear back from the artist regarding these specific patinas that it had on the original piece so that I can get a quote for repatinaing.
Okay.
So we're playing phone tag, I guess is the best way to describe it.
Has Conservator looked at it?
Only photographs. They have not physically been to Milpitas to look at it.
Okay. Okay. So where are our thumbs on the maintenance of the permanent collection? I'm voting down on that one right now.
Yes, I'm voting down as well.
Okay.
This is Sandeep.
Thank you, Sandeep.
I'll vote down as well, Benjamin Tang.
Okay. Aida, how do you feel about it?
Voting down.
Okay. And Christina?
Voting down.
Thank you. All right, so that one comes off the list. So the next one was the video festival, and this is something that I was actually included in the Art Commission, the 1819 work plan, and then carried over, originally suggested by a commissioner who is no longer here, who was enthusiastic about actually having a film festival. I think it was his original intent. Carmen went on to explain that it doesn't have to be a film festival. In fact, that would take too much work. But perhaps we could do something in terms of using our iPhones.
Was that high school student that suggested that? I think that was.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, he wanted to do something like Sundance. It's like Sundance Film Festival, something that's really.
I know.
And it's just so expensive, and it's probably wasn't going to. So that's why I just recommended, well, maybe a video. So anyway, it's up to you guys.
The question with that one, I think, Carmen, is: do we have the expertise in-house?
Yeah, that's another one. Yeah. I think that's going to be tough. That's going to be challenging too. So
yeah,
that's my thoughts.
Okay. So does anybody have any thoughts on that?
So how are we going to have the video festival if we are still shelter in place?
We can't.
Yeah,
So,
I think it's easy on that one.
We wouldn't do that. There are ways of doing it. We could do it virtually, but I'm not sure that we have. It will take a lot of organizing, even if we were to do it. It seems to me that that's going to be something that will require a lot of resources. At least at this particular point, I think we should just wait until the pandemic is over and we've got a little bit more movement. And there are some other reasons why it might make sense later on to involve the MUSD, the Milpitas School District too. And so my suggestion is it's a great idea, maybe later on, so when there's a little bit more mobility with all of us.
Yeah.
Okay. So from my standpoint, it's a thumbs down. Is there anybody who would like to step up and say no? Thumbs up.
Thumbs down for Christina.
Thank you, Christina.
Thumbs down from Benjamin.
Thank you, Benjamin.
Thumbs down from Joita.
Thank you, Joita. All right.
Thumbs down from Sandeep.
Thank you, Sandeep. Okay, so that one comes off the list then, Keegan. For the next item is prioritizing locations for potential public art projects to beautify specific areas. I don't know specifically. there are some triggering events that maybe are not within our particular realm that will probably cause us to be of more interest at some future time. One example, for instance, is that the revamping or the redoing of city parks. Creighton Park is one example. That once it opens, there may be an opportunity to consider that for some kind of sculpture. But we're a ways away from actually it opening up. And there are other parks on the list with Parks and Rec that we perhaps should be coordinating some of our work with. So where I'm coming right now, unless somebody has a strong feeling about a particular park that needs some attention or is appropriate for a sculpture or something, that one also I would pass on. That's my opinion. Okay, should I ask my dogs again, or?
I've actually, I would think that this is something we can still discuss because this doesn't need us to really go out. I mean, we are driving around, so we can kind of hone in areas, each one of us come up again with where we think we can have public art projects. We can figure out places and then also think of what we would like to put there. So this doesn't need for us to we can keep doing this even one shelter in place is what I'm thinking, is to talk and discuss and plan.
Okay, Joanne, I think that's a good idea. If we were to change that from prioritizing locations, maybe you said identifying locations?
Yes, identifying the locations.
Okay. I think that's a good idea. You know, I do a lot of walking in Milpitas, and I have some great ideas. So maybe that's a good suggestion. It's not we're not encumbered to come up with anything, but if we do, we can start working on it. So I like that idea.
Yeah.
Well, that's a thumbs up for me.
Thumbs up for
Thumbs
me.
up for me.
Okay.
Thumbs up from me, Benjamin.
Thank you, Benjamin.
Thumbs up from me, Sandeep.
Thank you, Sandeep. Thank you.
Thumbs up from me, Joyita.
Thank you. And Sandeep, you know, we've neglected your photographic skills, and it seems to me we could hitch a ride on that when it comes to these locations. So more to talk about on that.
Definitely.
Can I ask a question? Chairperson, can I ask a question on bullet number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? You're on that one, right?
We're talking about prioritizing locations.
Yeah. Are you guys going to do like a map or some kind of a list, maybe a list of the sites and maybe a picture of it, so that way when you come back, when you guys meet again, you guys can talk about that?
Yes, yes. I would imagine that this would be a collaborative thing with Parks and Rec. But yes, I think that would be a good idea. So we would identify, you know, maybe half a dozen locations that are potential, and then talk with Parks and Rec of what direction they're taking, where their priorities are related to that, and yeah.
I especially want something really good to look at in the, you know, between San Jose and Milpitas border, Fremont and Milpitas border. So, you know, it kind of shows, okay, we're in Milpitas, there's something special about us. So, you know, kind of making it that those areas look.
Well done. You are, congratulations. The answer is yes. And that's how I saw the Montague pedestrian overcrossing. It's an opportunity. It's a gateway to Milpitas.
Yeah.
So, and you absolutely, and there are other ways that you can access and enter Milpitas, and maybe that is part of this identifying these locations. Old Town, there's I've forgotten the name of the street, but there's a street that comes off Calaveras before you go over the railway. And there's an area there that, for instance, from my standpoint, would be an ideal location to welcome people to our city. So, yeah, I think that's a very good suggestion, and we could actually
Take pictures and make a list. Yeah.
Yeah. So then the last one, nice. Performance and event-related activities are virtually impossible until public health restrictions are lifted. I don't think any of us contest that. So issues related to the theater and how that's going to continue until we're out of the
woods.
Self-imposed, whatever. I would credit Tegan, and I don't know whether everybody has had an opportunity to look at the Milpitas community activities website pages, but she and her team have done a superb job at coming up with activities this summer. It really is, it's quite something. So if you haven't already checked it out, please check it out. Okay, so if we were to go to the work plan we had before, Tegan, is there anything that is there that we haven't rejected or that we've not pursued?
No, I think you've narrowed it down pretty well. If you'd like, I can say back to you what you prioritize. What I'm hearing right now is that the Montague pedestrian overcrossing might be your top priority. Perhaps the identifying locations for potential projects would be like your number 2. And then it sounded like the arts and culture grants might have been number 3, and then Phantom Art Gallery like number 4. What I didn't hear you vote on was, the rest of you comment on was John's idea of pursuing something at Augustine, and that might be in addition, or maybe you are thinking of that as part of the identifying locations item.
I think that could probably be melded into the identifying location.
Okay, very good.
Yeah, I think so too.
But I'm not sure where we are on the potential for murals in other locations, in particular the one that we did talk about in the middle, Joyita and Christina had talked about before, under the overpass, the 680 overpass and Calaveras.
Well, Caltrans, their bridges offer nice canvases, but they are challenging to work with. So it's not a quick project to do something on a Caltrans property.
Yeah, that's true. Plus, just also just a reminder that when you might put a nice mural up, but a lot of the people that do graffiti, they go and destroy it. So that's another challenge. So keep that in mind.
Yeah.
And I know that this is a little bit off on a tangent here, but the Economic Development Commission, excuse me, not the commission, the Alex Andrade had started before the pandemic closed in, beautification in Midtown. And murals, I think, were one of the thoughts, one of the considerations. I wonder whether we should be talking about that.
Maybe that's part of your
site. Yeah, yeah, that would be good.
Another site.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Part of your site list.
Okay. All right. Then I think, do we have, going back to common recommendation that we find things that we can move through fairly quickly. Do we have anything else that we want to add, or would this be a good work plan for next year?
I think we've got enough.
On your plate. Yeah.
Was that Councilmember Montano, or was
Oh
that?
no, somebody. I think it was Christina said. I think we have enough, and I go, yeah, on your plate.
Okay.
On your plate.
That was
right.
me.
All right. Then can I go back to the suggestion that we schedule a commission meeting to wrap up these things, to identify exactly the right wording, and to talk about who and how we're going to make this happen early in August, meeting early in August. I'm assuming that there's nobody on vacation or in the south of France during that time.
I can always do a poll to check and see what people's availability is. You guys don't have to decide that right this minute.
Okay, but there is some agreement that we do have a meeting early in August.
Yes, I'm out. This is Sandeep, and my schedule is pretty open, so I'm available in August.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yours is open.
And Ben?
I should be open.
Very good. Okay. All right. Well, let's see. Now, where does that leave us? Are there any city liaison reports? Tegan, do you have anything that you want to add?
Sure, I'll share a little bit with you. Thank you for the nice compliment that I'll pass along to my team about the virtual community center. We will be having a virtual event on Saturday with Pride. We have had Pride ceremony or Pride festivals here at Milpitas for the past couple of years. This year we're participating in Global Pride with the rest of the cities and counties and countries. We'll have a performer, Cacophony Daniels, who we've had in the past, will be back. Also, we're doing a virtual 4th of July with lots of exciting things going on with that. So check out the page there. We'll have some arts and crafts projects that are related to the 4th, so that'll be fun. The other thing I wanted to share with you is that our Park and Rec Master Plan, it sounds like, John, maybe you got a preview of it at Rotary, but we are moving right along with that and ready to embark on the second phase of community input. So they've done an initial run surveying the community about the kinds of things that they find to be important. And now we're getting ready to go back to the community and say, here's what we heard in the first round. Did we hear correctly? And I would like to pose that all of you are community enhancers. And one of your roles as a commission member would be to help us get information back from the public on the Park and Rec Master Plan, which includes public art. And so watch for the invitation to take that survey and please share it with people. And then the last thing I think I'll share with you is during the work from home period, our team has been working on GIS, our geospatial information system setup, and we would like eventually to have all the public art pieces on the GIS system. And I think that that's meeting one of the items that you mentioned with Valley Water when you were talking about being able to locate their benches.
Yeah.
We would love for people to be able to locate any piece of art in Milpitas online and learn about it, and kind of make a little map that they could go to see whatever they're interested in, that sort of thing.
It's nice. It's a good
So
idea.
it's a cool project. It's taking a bit of time, but we're really excited about it.
Right. Right. And does that include historical?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Points of interest, John. Points of interest.
Points of interest. Okay.
Sounds great. Sounds great.
Carmen, did you want to add anything? I know you had a very, very busy few months.
Well, yeah, well, most of it was already said. Just about the BART ceremony. The 4th of July, we're not having a 4th of July, of course, but we are going to, supposed to put flags in the median of Calaveras and then kind of spruce up City Hall, put some red, white, and blue lighting in the evening. So it's going to look really nice. So yeah, that kind of stuff. Other than that, I think that's it. So no, that's all I have to report.
Okay. Then lastly, in terms of future agenda items, we'll leave on that the
I did miss one thing. I don't know. Did you guys hear about the shooting yesterday?
we did, and I didn't want to bring it up, but yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Okay. Anyway, just so that you know.
Okay.
Yeah. Never mind. Never mind. It's on the public. It's on the press release. So.
Okay. I haven't seen the press release, but.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Moving forward.
Okay. So we've got on the future agenda items the mobile stage visit. I still am very eager, but I understand it is it's hidden right now, and that will have to wait. The public art fund update. That to me is, I really do want to understand how much there is there, what the activity is, and I think that should be very much part of our regular meetings. We should know what. In fact, it surprised me that actually it was Milpitas, the city of Milpitas, that actually paid for the fins. I thought it was actually BTA. So I think it's good for us to know what we have in the coffer and what activity ins and outs that are going on a regular basis. All right, and lastly, I don't know, do you have an update on Higuera Park?
No, not really. I mean, nothing's happened because of where we are right now, but yeah.
I go up there. If any of you who have the time to do it, please go up there. It's one of the sweetest, the cutest parks that we have in Milpitas. The adobe there. There's a row of ancient olive trees that created the original pathway up to the adobe building, which is still there. They've been there for centuries. It's a beautiful little park. So if you have time on these days, please go up there. It's a beautiful little park.
Yeah, those are the original ranchos, Rancho Higuera, all those Rancho Tulorcitos when it was under Spanish rule in the missions.
Right.
Yeah. Nice little park.
It is a nice little park. Okay, well, thank you everybody for participating. I kind of think it was a fun meeting, really interesting, and I think we've got some interested bodies, some commissioners that are willing to commit. I only wish that we had a few more, so we're going to have to find a way to get some more. If you know of anybody that's interested in participating in this, it's very rewarding, and it's part of our city. So don't hesitate to suggest. And Tegan, I know you wanted to say something.
No, actually, I didn't. I'm happy that I think it was a fun meeting too, and I'm glad that you were all here tonight.
Yes. Well, the next meeting you will let us know about, and
yes,
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
I will adjourn the meeting. Thank you very much. Take
Stay
care.
safe,
Everybody stay safe.
Stay
Thank you.
safe. Stay
Thank
healthy.
you. Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.